Hey lads, can you hear me?
Okay, right. So we'll get underway with the live section. Corky, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Yeah. Andy, hi. Thanks. It's a fine haircut you have. We'll discuss that some other time.
Thank you, Corky.
Can you talk about the changes to the team, the return of Jonathan Sexton, your captain, and how important his presence is, and how big a week this is?
Yeah, obviously, Johnny coming back from a hamstring injury is a big boost for the lads. Obviously, Johnny's our captain, and he's been missing for a couple of weeks. Although he's been working unbelievably hard in the background to make his presence felt. He's come through his rehab um, in the right amount of time. He's been ahead of schedule, and he's chomping at the bit and ready to go. What does he bring? He brings a feeling to the group that makes everyone feel right and ready to go for a big test match at the weekend.
Do you feel under additional or even extra pressure this week, given the fact that it's the last time you're going to be together this season, and maybe you're unhappy with the performance, particularly in the second half last weekend?
Well, yeah, I suppose, Cocky, it's twofold, isn't it? Yeah, we want to be better than that second half performance, and obviously this is a slightly different team, but at the same time, we know that we're up against a very good Scottish side, who was it was a tough ask the last time we played against them here at the Aviva, and obviously a lot of what's been going on over the last six games. 5 games, and this will be the sixth one, is obviously about building towards next year's Six Nations. So this is obviously a big building block towards that.
And in terms of yourselves, I know a lot of this week will be the focus upon yourselves. You feel that there's a really big performance still within the grasp of this group?
Oh, there's no doubt in our minds whatsoever. I suppose Scotland will have something to say about that. I suppose they'll be bullish, but we're in a determined mood, ready to put a performance out there at the weekend.
Just a final question from me in relation to Scotland. I mean, they're a team that have improved quite a lot, particularly over the course of the autumn. Yes, they haven't played a match, but they're a really strong settled team.
They have, and yeah, they're a side that's been together for a while, and obviously they've got a very experienced coach there with Gregor, and he does a fine job. I love the way that he coaches, so they'll be very bullish. They was disappointed in the 1912 loss back in February, so I'm sure that they've been looking forward to this game.
Cheers, man. Thanks.
Hi Andy, you mentioned the big performance there. How important is it to deliver on that, and to have that confidence going into the new year?
Well, we always want to put in performance, but obviously professional sport doesn't always go your way. So this is the next game on the calendar for us. So it's always the most important, Sinead. It's always the most important of the year, and yeah, that's how we're looking at it.
Do you think that the game plans, do you think you're getting the best out of the players?
Well, certainly not in the second half last week. But we've seen snippets, haven't we? What we have done is created a lot of chances. Converting those chances is a work on for us, and it's something that we've been working out on.
Andy, if I could just ask you, I know James Lowe and Conway had knocks. Or has anyone been ruled out from injury?
We've had quite a few injuries throughout this period now of 8 weeks. So there's the obvious ones that are no longer in the group anymore. But no, we're pretty good. Obviously, we was waiting on a few players to come back and prove their fitness this week. So no, all's good.
And I know you guys had to address that performance anxiety thing last year. What with like 50% of players' contracts not getting negotiated till January? Is the stress of that something you're going to have to deal with? I know you're coaches, but is that something you're going to have to deal with leading into the Six Nations?
Obviously, as a head coach, I know all about that, and I know where everyone's at individually. But honestly, the feel in the group, you would never know it exists. The players have been absolutely magnificent for a period of 8 weeks. The drive has been second to none to want to learn and get better, and you would never think that's at the forefront of the mind, which is massive credit to them.
Is there, and then just finally from me, but is there a stress element, or is there a performance anxiety, or is there outside stress that you feel you need to deal with? Just when we look at the performance last week, for example, is that something outside of their attitude and their training and all that? Is there something else that you need to kind of maybe deal with them a little bit, or?
Well, we are dealing with that type of stuff. From a mental performance preparation aspect, it is something that we are touching on constantly. That we've helped with along the way as well. So. I suppose stress comes from people wanting to put the best foot forward when they're given an opportunity. How you deal with that? That's our job, and the help we get from the outside as well to be able to help them along with that stress. So that's international football, isn't it? That's why it's so different, and that's why everyone wants to be a part of it.
Thanks.
Just follow up, Andy. Have you had someone in? Has there been someone new coming in to work on the mental skills, or has that been you coaches doing that?
Yeah. Gary Keegan's been with us for some weeks now. He's been doing a tremendous job. So the process is starting. Mick Carney's he's there. He's not just there as a. Obviously, Mick was there in previous years as a manager, but he's there as a mentor for many of the players as well. A lot of our players, it isn't just the stress of a match week. It's obviously dealing with life outside of rugby, etc. as well. That can be a whole build up in a different manner, and Mick helps them massively with that. Regarding mentors outside of rugby, etc. So with Gary and Mick, we're well on our way to starting something there that's going to help in the future.
And just with Gary, that's obviously really interesting. Is that a group setting, or is it guys who want to use them, or how does it actually work?
It's all of the above. It's all of the above. It's Gary's mental skills as far as helping how that translates to performance is what he's second to none at, and his whole connection piece regarding the whole squad and bringing all the squad, the management and playing squad together is a big part of his remit.
Great stuff. I was just curious, are there any other ways in which last year's World Cup review has affected the work you're doing or influenced the work you're doing? Obviously, the mental skills is one aspect of it. Is there any more of that that's influenced your work?
No, Murray. I suppose you try and do things your own way anyway. So you're obviously starting a little bit of fresh and trying to build as you go along, making sure that you don't make put too many steps in front of them that they can't go up is pretty important. Making sure that we build along the way. I've been asked this question many a times regarding support, performance anxiety, etc. And you've got to be careful how you throw things into the players. That you're not just putting too much onto them. So the process has started, like we always knew that it was going to do. So it's at the start of the process, obviously, but it's something that's going to help us massively in the future.
Okay, guys, we've got about time for one more in this section.
Okay, hi Andy. You've used a lot of players over the last few weeks. Are you confident in your own mind you know what the best team is, and is this your strongest team?
This is a strong team. Confident in my own mind. Well, I suppose when do you ever get your strongest team together? We've obviously on record that everyone knows that we've got quite a few injuries out there, but that's professional sport. There's no excuse. You'd expect 6 or 7 players to come back into contention for the Six Nations, but as we know, the type of games that the lads are going to be playing over the next 6 or 7 weeks when they go back to the clubs are pretty intense and pretty fierce encounters themselves. So I suppose there's going to be quite a few injuries at the start of the Six Nations as well. So you're always having to deal with that aspect of things. So do you really ever get to what's your strongest team? Probably not. But at the same time, there's always going to be a wish list after you've witnessed what's just gone on in front of you regarding the last 6 or 7 weeks.